Dating red flags and examples. Hi everyone, thank you for clicking on this YouTube video. My name is Kaylee, and today I want to go over red flags in dating. It's very easy in the beginning to skim over red flags and to miss things that don't seem major in the moment, or you don't really think much of it at the time because it's just the early stages. However, that is the time that you should be the most observant. That is the time that you should take everything into consideration and you should be most cautious. Yes, be open minded, be willing to trust that person, be willing to be open. However, don't be such an open book. Don't have all of your cards on the table at once. It's very important sometimes to be cautious because just because you might have certain goals and expectations, and just because you're a good person, that doesn't mean that the person that you're talking to is a good person or may have those same goals that you do. And what do I mean by be more cautious in the early stages? Well, whenever you're just getting to know somebody, you don't need to get into the nitty gritty. You don't need to talk about all of your family trauma, all the horrific things that you've been through. Your dog got ran over last week. Your house is going on foreclosure. Nobody needs to know that. In the beginning, it should be lighthearted, easy. There's no need to go into so much depth. You're just getting to know that person. And if somebody, it seems like they have a lot going on all at once, which we do. We all have different stages in our lives, and that's okay. But if somebody is just spilling their guts to you, it can be too much. At least for me, it can be too much. If somebody is just going on and on and on and on and on about all the things that have gone wrong in their life. If it's the very, very early stages, my best recommendation would be to just take a step back, keep it lighthearted, keep it fun. There's no sense in making things so intense and serious in the very, very early stages. And I'm not saying don't be yourself authentically. But whenever it's the very, very beginning, get to know that person. Because oftentimes, whenever people spend so much time talking about themselves, they feel like they're bonding with that person. They feel like there's a connection with that person because they're actually listening to them, because they're hearing them out. And that can really blur the lines, especially in the beginning. If you're talking about all of your hardships, all the things that you've been through, and that person is listening, or maybe they're chiming in every so often, I feel like with women, more often than not, that's the case whenever it comes to getting to know somebody in the beginning, is they feel like the more talking that they do, the more they talk about all the hardships they've been through, pass and go, collecting 200, that's really going to build something with somebody. And that's not true, because in the beginning, whenever you come on so strong, so fast, and you don't just relax, whenever it doesn't feel like things flow, whenever it feels like you always have to tell a sob story, or you always have to be talking about yourself in order for there to be some kind of conversation, more often than not, it's probably not a good pairing. When somebody tells you that all of their past relationships were toxic, all of their exes were all snakes, they've never been in a good relationship, and it was always their fault. They were always conveniently the poor little victim, and they've never been in a good relationship because all of their exes weren't good people, and they unfortunately were always in the crossfire. Whenever somebody tells you that, that's not true, number one. If somebody cannot self-reflect and acknowledge, hey, I probably wasn't emotionally mature in that past relationship, or yeah, I actually checked out halfway in that relationship, or I probably should have been more attentive, I definitely probably should have checked in a lot more. Whenever somebody can't self-reflect and actually acknowledge that what they were doing or how they were behaving probably wasn't their best in any past scenarios, whether that be their life, whether that be talking about family, their job, whatever. That's an example of somebody that isn't mature emotionally and hasn't grown. And ideally, probably is not a good choice, because if they're telling you that somebody did them wrong and it's always that other person's fault in all of their past relationships, that's probably not the case more often than not. It's really hard for some people to admit whenever they're wrong. And some people haven't grown in the sense to be able to acknowledge whenever they have done something wrong, or whenever they haven't put their best foot forwards. There are exceptions. Now, sometimes some people do pick, unfortunately, bad partners. And people unfortunately fall into a habit with doing this. Some people, they are in the savior mentality where they think that they can save somebody. They think that because this person has had a whole entire life of unfortunate events that they can just swoop in like Superman and fix their life. And the thing is you can be the right person, but it can be the wrong time. Just because you are present, just because you are there for the person that's going through the hardship, if they're not ready for you, it will not work out. If they do not see the value in you, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how much you show up for them. It doesn't matter how much you do for them. It will not be appreciated. It will not be acknowledged. They will not wake up one day and realize what a prize that they have. And I will add this real quick. If somebody does time and time again continue to pick the wrong person over and over again, as painful as this may be to hear, sometimes it isn't the other person. Sometimes there is something missing in you that you think that you found in that other person. Or maybe it's something from your unhealed past. It could be daddy issues. It could be mommy issues. Whenever you keep on going to something that you know isn't good for you, that you know isn't going to help you in the long run, that you also know you've done this before and it feels familiar. If you keep on choosing wrong every single time, it's not always the other person. Yes, whatever may happen, whatever may occur, not saying they're a good person. But if you're attracted to something that isn't good for you, that's where self-reflection comes in. Now, what's another red flag? Whenever you ask somebody, hey, like, what are you looking for? And they don't give you a direct answer. More often than not, it's because they want to see what you're going to say so that they can respond accordingly. And then conveniently, whenever you say, yeah, I'm looking for a serious relationship, they're going to say, no way, me too. Or if you say, yeah, like, I don't really know. I don't want casual, but like, like I don't want like a relationship. That's where they say, oh my gosh, no way, me too. I'm looking for the same exact thing that you are. That's a major red flag. Because if somebody is just here for the vibes or they're just waiting to see what you're going to say so that they can conveniently say the exact same thing, that's somebody that is mirroring you, and that's not somebody that's going to be there for the long term. Now, if you're okay with that, if you don't want long term, if genuinely you're here just to catch a vibe or whatever it may be, fine, that's okay. But if you're looking for something serious and immediately that person says, oh, no way, me too, that's a major red flag. I've made a short about this. Go for something deeper than looks. Yes, you want there to be traction. Yes, you want to be attracted to the person that you're talking to, of course. But if that's all that they have, is just they're an attractive person, there's no personality, there's nothing else that they offer up, you can't even hold a conversation, it's just you two just staring at each other, that's a big sign that yes, physical attraction, very strong, but everything else, again, we're talking about long term. If it's short term, go for it. But if we're talking about long term, that's going to fizzle out. If things start off hot like that, chances are it's going to crash and burn just as fast. You want to go for something deeper than looks. Yes, attraction. You want to be attracted to that person. But if that's all that there is nothing else. Whenever you take the attraction of that person out of it physically, and you're like, oh, well, what do we talk about? Well, do we even have anything in common? Well, do they even have any skills? What are we going to do? If there's an accident, are they going to be there? Or are they just here for the vibes and gone tomorrow? Another red flag. Somebody that makes plans and then doesn't follow through with it. Somebody that tells you, yeah, like let's have dinner Saturday night. And let's say it's Thursday or it's Wednesday or it's earlier in the week. They don't follow up. They don't text you about it. They don't ever acknowledge that there was a date on Saturday or y'all were going to grab dinner. There's a huge red flag. It's a very big red flag because normally if it's a man, makes plans and then he doesn't follow through with it, more often than not, he wants to see how badly you wanted to go out with him. It is an ego boost to see that you're going to text him, you're going to call him. You might even leave him a couple of voicemails about, are we going to go on our date? You said we were going on our date and now we're not going on our date. I thought we were going to go on our date tonight. That is such a huge ego boost to see that you're spiraling over plans that didn't go through. Now, the correct way to handle that, not speak to that person again, number one. Number two, if you're feeling petty and they circle back and they try to text you about it again, they try to make plans, that is simply where you respond, oh, well, we made plans last time and then you didn't. So I don't know. I don't think you're that serious about it. Or if you really want to be petty, just don't respond. Because if somebody's going to make plans and then not follow through with it, chances are they're not serious about you. They probably could have possibly gotten a better offer, or it's just an ego boost to see how badly you wanted to go on that date, and also to see how badly you wanted to be with them. Now, I'd also like to add that women do this as well. They'll make plans, they'll say, yeah, like let's meet up on Monday at 9 p.m. And then if they don't follow through, it could be something similar. They just want to see how badly that person wanted to go. I know that I said men earlier. It can be either gender. If somebody continuously, it's not just a one-time thing, time and time and time again, they make plans, plans fall through. Or they don't acknowledge that plans fell through, and then they try to make plans with you again. Huge red flag. That is somebody that you're just a number to them. They are just going through their roster, or they just want to see how badly you wanted to go out with them. Another red flag is, again, you're in the very early stages and you meet somebody and they constantly try to humble you. They constantly will nitpick things that you say. They will constantly misunderstand what you say and how you say it. And then they will project onto you and they will say things such as, yeah, well, all women like you. Yeah, well, women like you are always doing stuff like that. Or, can't y'all ever do anything right? Somebody that talks to you like that, especially in the beginning, that is somebody, number one, that's not ready for a relationship. Number two, shouldn't be dating because they are clearly still hung up on their ex. And number three, if somebody is coming off that way in the very, very beginning, or if you're dating somebody and they're always trying to humble you, they're always trying to put you in your place, and literally all you said was good morning, how are you? That is somebody that has major problems, number two. Number three, that is not somebody that you want to pursue things with, because if they always feel the need to try to knock you down a peg, try to knock you off of your high horse, that is somebody that is extremely insecure, and that is somebody that only feels good about themselves if they are keeping you down low, like where they are, because they could be on the down low. Now, it'd be easy to miss that because it might come off as like joking, like, oh, haha, all women like you, or oh, you're so stupid. Whenever it comes off as lighthearted like that, it can be easy to miss because you might want to join in, or you might feel kind of left out of the joke as well. And whenever somebody does that to you, and it's in the very beginning, they don't actually like you. They won't ever actually like you. It's very clear that they don't even like themselves, and that is why they feel the need to put you in your place, because they don't feel happy or secure with themselves unless they're keeping you down, unless they are pushing you down. So do not pursue anything with anybody if that's how it comes across, where they have to constantly put you down, give you put downs, and make sure that you stay down. Another red flag. This is going to be a guy that tells you how busy he is, or it could be a girl. Flip the gender. It doesn't have to be either or. But more often than not, it's normally men that will say that they are just so busy. They're just so tired with work. They're just so exhausted. And then you ask them, oh, like, how was work? Might not be until like later in the day or like the next day. And they'll respond with something along the lines of, oh, it was my day off. Yeah, I'm so glad I got to get caught up on laundry. I was so far behind. And then it'll click and you'll go, oh, he said he was so busy with work. And then he said it was his day off. Whenever this happens, number one, that's not somebody that likes you. Number two, whenever that happens, that is somebody that can't keep track of their own lies. They didn't actually want to go on that date that they had originally planned with you. They just wanted an scapegoat. It happens to some people more often than not. And that's not somebody you want to date. That's not somebody you want to take seriously long term. Because somebody that is telling you that they're so busy and then you come to find out they weren't actually busy, they just didn't want to spend time with you, that's not something you want to pursue long term. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve somebody that would actually prioritize you, somebody that would actually be honest with you about their intentions and if they're actually busy or not. What's another red flag? Hot and cold. Somebody that's hot, they're on fire, they're interested, they're actively making an effort to take you out, to spend time with you, to actually call you, to text you, and then just going completely cold. Radio silence. Whenever somebody's hot and cold like that, it's normally either number one, they're seeing somebody else, number two, they also could be hooked on their ex, or number three, that is somebody that doesn't actually take you seriously. That is somebody that doesn't know what they want, or you're just a placeholder for the time being. Whenever that person that they were talking to doesn't give them the attention that they want, that's whenever they will come back to you, the placeholder, the person that will be there for their needs whenever they need them at that moment in time. And then once that person circles back, then they will go back to the other person. You don't want to be a placeholder. You don't want to be somebody that takes the place of somebody that they actually want, but they can't actually have them because who knows? Maybe that person is juggling somebody else, or they're married, or they're also in a relationship. Who genuinely knows? But you do not want to be in the place of a placeholder. And many women will fall into this with situationships where they'll go, oh my God, he told me we would get married someday. He said that I was the one, that there was nobody else. And then, come to find out he had a wife, kids, the whole shebang. Okay. Or the other way around, come to find out she had a husband, kids, the whole shebang. And you don't want to put yourself in that kind of position. Nobody deserves to be on the back burner. Nobody deserves to be the placeholder, the person that just essentially is just a body to take the place of the person that the actual person wants. Another red flag, if somebody tells you they're not a good person, believe them. And sometimes people might not come out right and say that. It's happened to me before, or I've been on a date and somebody's been like, yeah, I'm not a good person. Believe them. However, sometimes people can allude to that. They can tell you stories, they can tell you scenarios, they can tell you stuff like, oh, yeah, like my mom fell down a flight of stairs and I thought it was funny. If somebody tells you something like that, of course, that's extreme, but stranger things have happened. If somebody tells you something like that, believe them. Do not try to sit there and say, no, you're a good person. No, that's not true. You're such a good guy. Don't don't try and delude yourself. If somebody shows you and tells you that they're not a good person, believe them. And so many people, I know a really popular topic these days is narcissists. You can't fall into the trap of being with a narcissist if, number one, you just listen to them. If all somebody talks about is themselves, they never ask you how you're doing, they never check in on you, they never actually genuinely show that they care about you. And if they do, once they get what they want, they keep it pushing. If somebody shows you all of those traits and all of those qualities, you do not pursue anything with them. You cannot be fooled and tricked if you just sit down and listen to somebody. Once you actually do listen to somebody tell you, and you actually listen to their stories and what they have to say, then you can discern and decide for yourself, oh, wow, he's been saying since the very beginning that he's just not the right one for me. But I didn't want to hear it. I wanted to make him fit that mold. I wanted to make him the one for me. Whenever you don't try to force those things on people, the discernment, it is so much easier to see if somebody actually is the right choice for you. On the topic of narcissism, another example to not fall into that trap is if somebody is telling you all of the amazing miracles that they've worked, all the charities that they've donated to, they're just such a good person. They helped a random grandma across the road. If somebody is telling you all of these stories unprovoked, you didn't even ask. You just met them. That's a huge, huge, huge red flag. If somebody feels the need to paint such a good picture of themselves and you barely got their name, huge red flag. And normally, people that do fall into the trap of narcissists are people pleasers. People that do things out of the goodness of their heart, they're not expecting anything back. Do not fall in the trap of a narcissist is simply think about yourself. Don't always put other people on such a pedestal, especially if you just met them. If you do not know them, you do not owe them anything. If you ever do fall into the trap of people pleasing, automatically take a step back and think, oh, wait, how does this benefit me? What would I get out of this situation? Yes, sometimes it's okay. But if you are continuously bending over backwards for somebody that you know would not even try to meet you half of a quarter of the way, do not do it. It is not worth it. Another red flag. At least in my opinion, this is a red flag. If somebody tells you that they expect you to be the wife before there's a ring on your finger, do not do it. You will get taken for a ride. If somebody wants wife treatment, there should be a ring on your finger. Because unfortunately, whenever you do so much in the very, very early stages, whenever that person wants you to prove yourself to them, that's not somebody that is going to marry you in the long run. It's not. Because people don't respect whenever you do so much. The more you feel the need to prove to them, the more you feel the need to constantly prove yourself. If somebody likes and loves and appreciates you, they're not going to tell you to prove yourself to them. They will see the value in you. They will see exactly who you are, and they will accept you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.